Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends, today we're going to learn sutta called the Bakkulasutta. It is from the Majjhima Nikaya, and this is very simple sutta, very simple. It shows the quality of the enlightened monk, that being minimalistic means there is not, he has never done something to something extraordinary for anyone else. Like Sariputta Bhante was a he's a preacher of Supreme Buddha's days, that when Sariputta Bhante and Moggallana Bhante goes to some direction, that Supreme Buddha did not need to look that way. Ananda Bhante was contained with so much Dhamma that in a way Supreme Buddha says he's a storage of Dhamma. So particular Dhamma dogs has given by. But for today is what we're going to learn the quality. This Bhante has nothing like that. But even though his life was very inspirable for people at that time, or just see his own friend was motivated by it, and he also went refuge from Paljam. Okay, so we're going to learn today. See, Bakkulasutta. Evam vi sutam, thus I have heard. Ekam samayam ayasma Bakkulo rajagahe viharati veluvane kalandaka nivape. On one occasion, the venerable Bakkula was living at Rajagaha in the bamboo grove, his coral sanctuary. Atakho achela kassapo ayasmato Bakkulas purana gihi sahayo yenayasma Bakkulo tenupa sankami. On that time, on one occasion, Ayasma means Bakkula Bhante's previous friend from his lay life, the friend Achela Kassapo. He is a Achelaka. It means he went forth and he has become a monk also, but not in Buddhism. Outside of Buddhism, like a wanderer or just having some certain things in his life, ascetic way, he was practicing the ascetic practices. Called the Kassapa, his name was Kassapa. So because of his practices, they call him Achela Kassapa. So he came to this Bakkula Bhante and Upasankamitva Ayasmata Bakkulena Sadding Samodi. And then had his cordial talk that, how are you, Bakkula? In long time we haven't seen. Because one of the best thing is that Bakkula Bhante has a long life. Very long life. 80 years he stayed at home. 80 years. His 80 years of life, he was at home doing all duties of family. And then on 80 years, he left and became a monk. Okay. So in that long time, there are several friends. So one of the friends was also a Chela. And he came and had to talk that, how are you doing in life. And then after finishing this cordial talk about their life, he sat down at one side, and then what he does? Ekamantang nisinno ko achela kassapo ayasmantang Bakkulang ate the gocha. And sitting down at one side, this he asked from the Bakkulabante in this way, Kiva chirang babajito also Bakkulanti. Bakkulabante, how long that you have been a monk, how long that you have left your home and observe this monkhood. So he said, Asiti me also vasani babajita sati. That it's been 80 years that I have left my home and gone forth and became a monk. How many years? 80 years. So 80 years he has been at home, and 80 years he became a monk. So it is a huge time of grace. 160 years of lifespan he had at that time. See, so after listening that 80 years he has become a monk, okay. So he asked him, Imehi panao so Bakkula, Asitiya Vasehi Katikattum Metuno Dhammo Patisevoti. So he asked from him, in this 80 years of your life as a monk, how many times that you have engaged in sexual intercourse? So by this question, we can see in that time that all the ascetics practices was not that to practice the celibacy life. And because of that, this person, this friend of Bakkulabante, asked him simply that how many times in these 80 years that you have engaged yourself in sexual intercourse? So, and then he did not know that what the Supreme Buddha preaches a Dhamma. They were just close friends, and they had a different practices. They did not know each other's, So because of that, he did not know that the Supreme Buddha preached a Dhamma for celibacy, preached a Dhamma for enlightenment, And that's why he asked him a simple question. Even now in today also, if you see someone else, like we do not talk about or do not ask about that you have such a life, that today we talked about that, okay, how many devotees do you have? How many families do you go for? How much these people donate you? In such a way, even now also they have these conversations, So Bakkulabante replied to him, Nakhu mangao so Kassapa evam puchitabam. Kashyapa, do not ask me in this way. This question, what you are asking, it's not correct. Do not ask me that how many in this 80 years of life, how many times did I have engaged in sexual intercourse? But evam chakomangao su kasava puchitapa. But you should ask in this way. What? Imehi panate so Bakkula. Asitiya vasehi katikattum kamasanya uppanna pubbati. What did he ask? He said simply that you should ask me in this way. That friend Kashyapa, in the 80 years since I went forth, how many times have perception of sensual desire arising in you? See, Kashyapa asked, Achela Kasyapa asked from the Bakkula Bante that how many times you engaged in the sexual intercourse. But Bakkulabante refused to answer in that way. He said, you should ask me in a different way. In what way? That ask me that how many times the desire, sensual desire, the perception of sensual desire arisen in me. Means perception means just a sanya, that before the thought that it arises, that I need to engage in intercourse. Such a sanya, the perception of sensual desire, not only just for sex, but for all the sensual desires what we have. Such a desire does arise in you, he asks. You should ask me in that way. Means you can see that not engaging in sex, sexual desire, but even the perception of sensual desire, whatever is engaged in this bodily sensual desires, did thus such a thing arise in you? He asked him. It's how much confidence that this person has. Bakkulabante had. Enlightened monks have such a quality. So he said, okay, let me ask you. And then he, Achela Kassapa, asked him in the same way. And then Bakkulabante replied to him, Asiti me also Vasani Babbajitas Nabijanami Kama Sanyam Uppanna Ubbam. Bante replied, friend Kashyapa, in the 80 years since I went forth, I do not recall any perception of sensual desire to have arisen in me. In 80 years, it did not have the perception of sensual desire. And that was amazing. That was astounding quality that Bakkulabante had. Simply knowing that thing, I haven't such a thought or such a perception arise in me. He said, Yampa yasma bakkulo asitya vasyehi navijanami kamasanya uppanna pubbam. In this 80 years, Bante, you did not have, also did not have such a kamasanya. That is Idampi mayang ayasmato bakkulas accharyang abbuda dhammang dharima. I see that an amazing and astounding quality is in the Bakkulabante. Really, that is amazing that this Bakkulabante did not have the kama sanya, the perception of sensual desire. And he says that I see this is the amazing and astounding quality. It is a marvelous quality of Venerable Bakkul. Then he said, again, the Bakkulabante is now one quality he has mentioned. Then next quality is saying, Asiti me also vasani pampajitas navijanami vyapada sanyam. Then he says that I do not recall having any perception of ill will in the 80 years of monkhood life. Vihinsa sanya. I do not recall any perception of cruelty. I do not recall for any living beings. So, Uppanna Pubba have ever arisen in me. So, we can see that Bakkulabante did not have the perception of sensual desire, the perception of ill will, perception of cruelty has ever arisen in him in 80 years of time. See, magnificent. Really, really. For us, how it is difficult, every time. We do not have to think of something. We do not have to do. Just unconsciously also, the perception of sensual desire or ill will automatically arises without paying notice of that. It arises in us. But for Bakkulabante, he is that much confidence. He that never arisen in his life. Then his friend says, Yampa Esma, if such a thing is there, Bante, that is the great quality that Bakkulabante has. That Bakkulabante has never arisen the Vihinsa Sanya or Vyapada Sanya. Idampi mayang ayasmato Bakkulas accharyang abbuta dhammang dharima. And this we remember, or I remember, as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Venerable Bakkula. So that is inspiring for himself also. And he says that that is a really beautiful quality, that or amazing quality, wonderful and marvelous quality that Bakul Bante has. Bakul Bante says further, Asiti me also vasani babbajitas. In these 8 years of my monkhood life, navijanami kama vitakkam uppanna pubbam, that the thought for sensual desire, thought, the thinking by himself that I want to think of the sensual desires, such a thought, kama vitakkam, the thoughts of sensual desire has never arisen in the 80 years of life. Compared to us, see, it is very, very rare. For the enlightened beings, that is the nature of them, who has really, really completed his task of this world, who has liberated himself. Such a quality exists in it. How beautiful it will be to not having any sensual desirable thoughts, because we see that we are the slaves of our thinkings. Every time sensual desire arises in us, or thoughts of it arise in us, how unstable we become. If we want something and then we rush for it, we immediately go. If we want to eat something, the desire of sensual desire for eating also is there. What we do? We are unstable. We run for I want this one, and the choices are a lot. Those things. For listening something, for that also, if the thought arises in us, it automatically begins. Simple thing. If you want to listen something and you're restraining yourself, automatically in your mind, the music automatically start to play. You do not have to think of something else. You do not have to play. And then it always shows you are forgetting this word, you are forgetting that. Play it. Such a thing happens. But for enlightened being, such a thoughts, there is no place for them. They have completely eradicated, completely finished such a thoughts from their mind. That Bakul Bante is saying, in 80 years of monkhood life, never recalls that the kama vitakkam uppanna pubbam, that the thought of sensual desire has arisen in him. And his friend identified that quality, and he says, Bante, you do not have the sensual thoughts, the desire for sensual thoughts in your 8 years of monkhood life. I see this thought as an amazing or marvelous quality of Bakula Bante. Idampi mayang ayasmato Bakula Sacharyang Abhut Dhammang Dharima. That I or we remember as wonderful and marvelous quality of the Venerable Bakula. Then Bakula Bante is mentioning again. See how beautiful it is, that one by one is a great qualities. Like if we mention something to someone else, sometimes we should say, "Oh, he's showing off." That's a show off, that he's mentioning about himself. But for the noble disciples, there is nothing to hide and there is nothing to show for. Because the desire or for needs, it has completely finished. Like when we, even if you are not enlightened, but you have attained the state of anagami, the non-returner, even in that state also, when you mention something like this, it does not give the idea that you are great, It just simply mentioned that these stages of enlightenment, how beautiful they are, they teaches you, or the qualities that arise in you, how beautiful these are, we can see. When we learn about the Nandamata, you know, she mentioned when the Sariputta Bhante asked, the enlightened monk asked from her, and she mentioned one by one, this is my qualities. That this is not only that I have the uh, marvelous quality, but this one also I have. From the same thing asked from the another one of the disciple, the Supreme Buddhas, he also mentioned in the same way that Bhante, these qualities I have. See? So when you attain the stages of that, the showing off or praising that I have these qualities, usually we try to please someone else by our these qualities, or we try to explain that this I have this much qualities, I'm worthy of that. Such a thing does not need for enlightened beings or on the path of enlightenment. They just simply mention this, or these are the qualities, and some who is listening from that, they are getting benefited by it. Like, see, one by one, he is mentioning the qualities, and every quality, what he says, that these are the amazing quality that Bakkulasutta possesses. This is the marvelous quality that Venerable Bakkula have. Bakkulasutta mentioned further, Asiti me also vasani pavvajitas nabijanami vyapada takkam vihinsa vitakkam uppanna bubbam. Friend, in the 80 years since I went forth, I do not recall any thought of ill will, any thought of cruelty to have ever arisen in me. Thoughts. First he explained the perceptions, but now he says thoughts. Simple thought has never arisen to harm someone. Thought of cruelty never arisen. See, for us, it is very hard to neglect. Every day, if someone has said a simple bad word, immediately the anger arises. When you are leaving your home, or just a simple action, the garbage collector did not collect your garbage today, and you are in rush to go to the office, and you see that buckets are there, and you see that this bucket will there be all day. If you do not take, how you get angry? Half an hour if the delivery is late, such a thoughts arise. That thing never arise in Bhakti. Never. And that's why his friend says that is amazing quality. That is marvelous and wonderful quality that we see in the Bakkulasutta. That is the someone overtake us from the driving, and just one simple horn they give, and then immediately we rush sometime behind them, we chase them, and then we horn. That happens. I have seen that. While I was there, I have seen. In India, it's okay. If someone is honking us, it's okay. It is necessary thing. But in Canada, in US, someone do it. It's like saying bad words. And we need revenge also. Such a thing. Thoughts of that. The process continuously comes. For developing anger, we do not need to have this everyday word. Just remember something from the past, and automatically there will be those anger will be arising. But for an enlightened being, it is not something like that. And that's why Bhante says, his friend says that Idampi mayang mayasmato bakkulas acharyan adbhuta dhammang dharema. If this is the Bakul Bhante is explaining in this way, then this too I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of the Venerable Bakula. Then Bakula Bhante says, this is not only one quality that I recall, there are further. And then he expressed what is it? That Asiti me auso vassani pabbajitas navijanami gahapati chivaran sadita. He says, friend, in the 80 years since I became a monk, I do not recall ever having accepted a robe from householder. So he has never taken the robe which is given by any householder person or any devotee who has given the robe. Never seen. Then that is also amazing quality he expresses. Then he says, one by one, he mentioning, says, Asiti me also vassani pabbajitas navijanami sattena jivarang chindita. First, he says that I never wear the robe which has been given by any householder person. So in this way, we can understand that Bakula Bhante was practicing the practice of Pansukolika Chivar, that the thrown cotton or thrown robes, that thrown clothes, he will gather together and he will use that as a robe. So the Pansukolika Chivar he has been wearing because he has never taken a robe from any householder and never wear the robe from which is given by the householder. Then he says, never ever having cut a robe with a cutter, that he has never used the scissors for his robe. So in a Pansukolika Chivar, some of the monks, if they want the proper cutting, the proper cut where they want to, it should look sometimes something beautiful, even you are wearing, some of the time that they use the scissor. But the Bakula Bhante has that he never used that, whatever as it is, he has mentioned in there. Then he says, Na bijanami suchiya chivaram siddhita. He never says that I have never used needle to make the robe. Never use the needle. Means one time that he has wear that robe before, when it was first time he take the robe, and that was the final time that he needed to patch it up. Because time to time the robe get and then you need to patch it up. But for the Bakula Bhante, he was using the robe in such a way that I think it does not needed to see to make the patches or anything else. So that's why he says, I never use the needle to use. Then he mentioned in further in way that ever have colored the robe, ever having saw the robe at the Katina time, ever having worked on the making robes for my companions in the holy life. So one by one he says that Nabijanami Rajanena Chivaram Rajita, Nabijanami Katini Chivaram Siddhita, Nabijanami Sahabrahmacharina Chivara Kamme Vicharita. So what he's saying that in my whole life, 80 years of life, I never taken the robe from any householder. Never wear the robe which is given by the householder. Never use the scissor to cut the cloth. Never use this needle to sew it. Never color my robe in my 8 years of life. Never needed for him. Never went to the Kathina Chivar ceremony. In this Vasana Kala, the final will be Kathina Chivar. Bakkulasutta says that I do not recall to be participate to saw the robe for the 18 months. When the Vasana Kala finish, before the monks going out, they have the 1 month to prepare the robes, or we call the Chivar time. So all the monks, now we have the machines and everything, but earlier the time that every year, the whole year, they gather the small clothes, and then all the monks gather around, and they prepare the chivar for whole sangha on that time, even for the individuals. So it has a time period for the monk's life. So Bakkulasutta is saying that I never took taken the Kathina chivar, the highest the robe, or I never participate in anyone's chivar, that another monk is needed a chivar. I did not have helped him also. Then further on he mentioned that na vijanami nimantang nang sadita, that I never have taken the invitation from anyone. Na vijanami eva rupam chittang uppanna pubbam ahovatamang pochi nimanteyati. Even means I have never taken the invitation from any householder, and in these 8 years of life, I have never had a thought of that, oh, someone or this person should invite me. Never have such a thought that someone should invite me. Every time that we see that, some of the time that I'm talking here, some of the time that it comes to me, oh, Bhante did not take my name, but they did not ask me. Some of the time that happens. For the monks also, even now, sometimes for me also it happens that the invitation is sent out to somewhere for all the monks, and if I'm not included there, then I feel, oh, no one invited me, so, or did not ask me. Such a thoughts occur to me. Why? Because we are still the part of this society. We haven't liberated yet. But for the Bakkulasutta, he said, never ever such a thought comes in my mind. Never. That someone should invite me. He has never taken the invitation from anyone, and neither he has a thought that someone should invite me. Then he said, Na vijanami antargare nisidita. He said, I never recall that I have went in someone's house inside. Inside means for the arms round, you can go up to the boundary of your house. Means the first door you can cross, but the inside one where is a dining hall, proper dining hall. So that there I have never been in anyone's house in 80 years. He said, Na vijanami antargare bhunjita. I never recall in my 8 years of life that I have eaten in someone's house, inside the house. Na vijanami matugamas anubyanjana so nimittang gaheta. He says, in my 8 years of life, I do not recall that I have taken any sign or features from any women. Never such a thought occurred to me. Never. See, it happens. For us, taking the features means we do not have to think something entirely. But for us, it's very easy. If you see any women, just in the one look for the women, it is very easy. We know what kind of makeup they are wearing. For the women, it is very easy. Within one look that we can see everything. everything we can see. So all the features of the woman we have taken inside us. For the men, it's really, really easy for them. Okay, see the figure, So no, okay, that woman is walking in this way. This is the thing. Height, health, everything they notice, the beautiful, ugly, and comments also there. Immediately, does not take a single moment. But so nimittam, they do not have to see entirely. Even from behind, like someone is from the behind, if you are looking from the behind, if that is a woman, knowing that there is a hair, even the purse of the women's purse also there, the men take notice of that. That thing, Bakkulasutta says, never taking the nimitta, anubenjana, the features of women, never has taken. The sign and features, never. And that is the amazing and astounding quality. That is a wonderful and marvelous quality that Bakkulasutta had. He says, Na vijanami matugama sadhammam desita antamaso chatuppadam gatam. He said, I never recall in my 18 years of life that I have taught the Dhamma to the women, even for the 4 verses, even in the 4 verses. So it means it mentions that he has engaged in the women only to take the food from them, and that's all. When he is taking the food, means when you are going for the arms round, and the spoon what is serving, he saying that he did not recall that even that spoon has someone is holding it. He did not take the features of that also. Never. Such a, what it called, the renunciation means liberation of these thoughts. Beautiful. You will never see such a person in this world today. It's very hard. And that is quality of enlightened beings. That is the quality. Imagine if such a thought does not occur to us. If we see, so the features, the signs, if we do not take, how our life will be. The sensual desire will be automatically died out. To follow someone, the desire toward that, it will fall out. But enlightened monks, they have done that. If we have, how peaceful our life will be. That thing we should understand from here. Then he's mentioning that I never taught a Dhamma. There is a one, when the Supreme Buddha was passing away, on that time, Ananda Bhante asked him, Bhante, how we should deal with the women. And Supreme Buddha mentioned, Adassana, Adassaniya, means do not see them, do not look at them. Then he mentioned, Bhante, if there is a time that we have to, then Supreme Buddha mentioned, okay, only couple of words you should speak with them. Then Bhante asked, do not talk with them first. Do not talk with them. Then if there is a need to talk, then be mindful that when you are speaking with them, such an instruction given by the Supreme Buddha, when you are speaking with the women or opposite sex or whatever the desire arises in you, whatever hold your mind, such a thought which comes to the sensual desire arise in you because of them, when you are dealing with such a person, be mindful when you are speaking with them. So Bakkulasutta, he while is there, did not have to listen to Supreme Buddha's that advice. Simply, he was following that, and that is the amazing quality that Bakkulasutta possesses. Every quality when he is mentioning, his friend was saying that it is amazing one day that Ayasma, the Venerable Bakkul has this quality. Furthermore, he says that Na vijanami bhikkhunu upasayang upasankamitva. I do not recall that having gone to the bhikkhuni's quarters, where the bhikkhunis dwells, I did not go. You know, there is a time every 15 days, monk has to visit the nuns' monasteries to preach the Dhamma and take the forgiveness from them. Before doing the uposatha, they have to do that karma for when the bhikkhunis were there. So it is, it comes time to time that monks has to go there. Bakkulasutta says, in my whole 80 years of life, I never went where the bhikkhuni dwells. Then he says, Na vijanami bhikkhuniya dhammam desita. I do not recall that I have preached any dhamma to the bhikkhunis. Na vijanami sikkhamanaya dhammam desita. Never recall that I have taught the dhamma to the trainee, the female probationer who is in your training. I never recall. Na vijanami samaneriya dhammam desita. The female novice monk, I never taught the dhamma to them. Na vijanami pappajita. I never recall that I had ever given the ordination to anyone. So he did not make the disciples also. Na vijanami upasampadeta. Never given the high ordination. Na vijanami nissayam data. That, okay, you can come and practice this dhamma, that dependence. Na vijanami samaneram upathateta. Says, never recall that I have given the what it called the samanera. The novice monk is there to give him or association or offer him the service. So taking service from anyone, he says, never have seen in my life. So never take like Sariputta Bhante has the Rahula Bhante. That Rahula Bhante is always there to associate him because he was his disciple. Such a person was never in the Bakkulasutta Bhante's life. For some people, it may occur that the Bakkulasutta Bhante may have, because of doing that, it means difficulties, never taught Dhamma to anyone else in that way, never take. So what is his purpose of the life, But being enlightened in this Dhamma, staying here, just being in this world, it is something like that we should praise about. Then he says, Na vijanami jantagare nahita. Never take the bath in the bathhouse. Na vijanami chunnina nahita. Never have washed my body with the soap. Na vijanami sahabrahmachari gat parikkame vicharita. Never taken from anything. Na vijanami abadam uppanna pubbam. He said, I never recall that I have ever felt sick. Never felt sick. That's why the Bakkulasutta Bhante is one of the qualities. He said, Antamaso gaduhana mattampi. Even the smallest, sneezes also, he has never seen in his life. Na vijanami bhesajam upaharita. He said, never have taken any medications in his life. Even the smallest bit of, there is a herbals, just to take your body, ease your body. So he said, never take any. She mentioned the two couple of names for the herbals, and I don't see the meaning of that. Na vijanami apasya kanakam upasahita. So never take any prepared cot or prepared putis from anyone else. The prepared putis. Na vijanami seyan kappeta. He said, never taken the cot to sleep or any room to sleep. So he was totally dwelling in the forest and never taken something like that. He was staying in under the roof tree, under the tree, and because of that, he's no needed anyone of that. His friend says, if this is this, then this is too. I remember as a wonderful and marvelous quality of Venerable Bakkula. Then he says, Asiti me auso vassani pabbajita nabi janami gamantare senasanam vassan upagata. He said, in 80 years, I have never spent time, even in rainy time, I never observed the vassa in the village. And that is also amazing quality. He said, Sattaha meva ko aham auso sarano ranapindo bhunjing. He said, only 7 days, friend, for 7 days after going forth, I ate the country's armed food as a debtor. Okay. So he said, only 7 days of that, I have taken food from someone else as a debt. So what he says, and next day, he has became the enlightened. Atatti mayang anya udapadi idampi mayang ayasmuto Bakkula. So the 8 days of, means 7 days he, after becoming the monk of 7th days, 7 days he has become attained the enlightenment. So only 7 days he has taken the food from someone else and he has to repay for that. But when the enlightened beings when we offer, so there is no date for them, you know. They are free from that. They are worthy to take the food. Okay. So he said, only 7 days, 8 days he has become enlightened. So after this everything he has listened, labhiyata auso Bakkula. Imasming dhamma vini pabbajjan labeyam upasampadanti. That I would receive the going forth in this dhamma and discipline. I would receive the full admission. So his entire life, what he has mentioned, it inspired his friend that he also wanted to become a monk. And it mentioned that after being monk, after taking the upasampada, achirupa sampanno panayasma kassapo eko upakatto appamatto atapi pahitatto viharanto nachira seva. Within a couple of days, and the Achela Kassapa received the going forth in the Dhamma and discipline, he received the full admission. And soon, not long after his full admission, dwelling alone, withdraw, diligent, ardent and resolute, the Venerable Kassapa, by realizing for himself the direct knowledge here and now, entered upon the beat in the supreme goal of holy life, for the sake of which cleansed man rightly go forth from the home life into the homelessness. So it mentioned that within a short time of period, this Achela Kassapa, after being a monk, for the, what is there for the all to attain, he has attained enlightenment. You know, he also become a monk and attained the enlightenment by influence of Bakkula Bhante. So Anyataruko Panayasma Kassapo Arahantanna Hosi. So this Kassapa also, he has also became one of the enlightened monk. After this thing happened, after his enlightenment, one day the Venerable Bakkula come to him, you know. Just he was dwelling these things, and he came to the this Kassapa Bhante. Yampayasma Bakkulo Ava Puranang Adai Viharena Vihara Upasankamitva Eva Maha. Later occasion, the Venerable Bakkula took a key and went from the dwelling to dwelling, saying, He went from the house to house, and every time that Abhikkattamatayasmanto Ajjame Parinibbanam Bhavisatiti. Come forth, Venerable Sir, come forth, Venerable Sir. Today I shall attain the final Nibbana. So he went to room, cottage to cottage, and mentioned to every monk in there that today I am going to attain the Parinibbana. So before for us, it is very hard to tell that when we are going to die. But for the enlightened monks, it is already mentioned. So he also went to all the monks, and he mentioned that today I am going to attain the Parinibbana. Idampi mayangayasmatto Bakkulasutta Accharyang Abhutadam Mandarim. And this is also I consider as a great quality, a marvelous quality of Venerable Bakkula. Ayasma Bakkulo Majje Bhikkhu Sangasa Nisinna Kova Parinibbari. In the middle of all the monks and the Sanghas, because the Venerable Bhikkhu attained the final Nibbana. And these all the qualities what the Bakkula Bhante had, those qualities has become his Ashcharyam, the wonderful and marvelous qualities, amazing and astounding qualities of Bakkula Bhante. So see, his life inspired us to or show us how the enlightened monk's mind or heart is. There is one beautiful story is regarding with the Bakkula Bhante. When he was in his in his life, he has never taken anything else. And even he's passing away after, he has never taken anything else from the householders. There is one beautiful incident one of the Bhante told me. When his Bakkula Bhante is passing away, there was very small shrine has been built. And when the King Ashoka was visiting all the stupas for the monks, and he was renovating all the small stupas of the enlightened monks. So he's one of the Bhantes were teaching him that this bhikkhu has done this much. This is Sariputta Bhante, this is Mugalan Bhante, there is Ananda Bhantes, because in the Purvarama there are a lot of stupas. In the Veluvana there is a lot of stupa. On that time, whenever someone passed away, they make the shrine close by, so the people can come and worship. So when the King Asoka was looking at each and every time, he has giving the money. Okay, this monk has done a huge thing to the society. He has spread the Dhamma. So let me give the 100 golden coins or 1,000 golden coins for each and every stupa. When this King Asoka came to the Bakkula Bhante stupa, the Bhante told him he has never taught the Dhamma to anyone else, never taking the robe, never. So he said, what is the purpose of his being monk? He did not spread the Dhamma. They say the Bhikkave Dhammang Adi Kalyana Majja Kalyana. He has never done something like that, never ordained anyone else. So what is the purpose of it? I did not want anything to give him. So what he did, there is a copper coin, a penny. So he has said, okay, only half of the penny we can give, a couple of cents. That's all. So when he placed the coin on the stupa, amazing thing happened. That coin just immediately fall from the stupa. And he said, and he looked at that this bhikkhu has never taken when he was alive. Even after that, he does not want my penny also. That's even the cent he did not need it from anyone else. And the King Ashoka was very happy and pleased. And he mentioned that this is the stupa of Bakkula. So he renovated entire stupa. And from there, for all the monks who has teached the Dhamma, who hasn't teached the Dhamma, the confidence for the bhikkhus, what confidence comes to the king? He has given this to all the people. by building the 84,000 stupas in the all over the world, including the stupas for the enlightened monks. See? So his life when he was there, his friend became the monk, just getting inspired by him. If his friend is not enlightened, will that be, can he be inspiring for another ascetic? It cannot. Just because of the Bakkulasutta was enlightened, his friend also got chance to become an enlightened monk. His life was really, really inspiring. It shows how the enlightened being lives their life. They did not need something from outside. They have everything what they needed. The self-sustaining of that you can see in the monkhood. You know, dependency does not have the materialistic life did not need it. And really, this is the qualities that we see in the enlightened monks. It really inspires us to behave and act. And that's why when we observe the 8 precepts, what we see, imitating great arhants, I'm going to abstain from all the garlands, beauty, cosmetics, the sounds, music, dramas, and everything. Why? Because imitating great arhants, they have this quality. Let me have the chance to see how enlightened beings live their life. And really, the Bakkulasuppa's life, it is really inspiring for us. Even today also, what the people do, if they want to stay healthy, what they do, they praise the Bakkulasuppas. You know, they offer the medicines to the Bakkulasuppas, so harm does not come to our life also. In our so many monasteries, we have the Bakkulasuppas shrines, we have Bakkulasuppas place, and we worship him because of this astounding and amazing qualities. So this all the qualities also may inspire you to see the goodness or see the beauty of enlightened being's life. May these qualities of Bakkulasutta be inspire you to practice the Dhamma, and may this Dhamma be helpful for you to realize the 4 noble truths in this Gautam Buddha's dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.